Welcome to this week's episode of Running Tales, and today I'll be talking to a local legend in Northampton who is not just busy with her charity work, however this week appearing in the November 2020 edition of the Hello magazine as a nominee for the hashtag Hello to Kindness. So let's get chatting to Lorraine Lewis, co-founder of the Lewis Foundation, and find out her running tale and what she'll be busy doing during the second lockdown. Lorraine, thank you for taking time out to chat with me. Can you tell us, have you always been sporty?
No, that's a straight answer. No, I wasn't. I mean, at school, like I would try and find every single way possible to get out of any activity and be like begging my parents, can you write me a sick note? So I didn't want to do
Really?
it. Yeah, absolutely hated it. I hate the cold, all that, any swimming, nothing. So I tried to make any excuse I could to, get out of PE, basically.
Wow. And then,
Yeah.
okay, you left school, nothing. And then is it through the charity then that you started getting into running?
Yeah, that's what was my inspiration actually. It was after my mother-in-law was diagnosed with cancer in 2010, and we spent a lot of time in Talbot Butler Ward in Northampton General Hospital. And what inspired me to try and do some physical activity is when my mother-in-law was, she'd be in like a private room and you had to pay to watch TV, which was ridiculous. So it was like £10 a day or £35 a week. And it would have been okay if she was in there for a day or two, but due to her treatment, she was sometimes in there for like weeks or months on end. So what we used to have to do is bring in a TV from home, which was a nightmare because it wasn't a little TV. It was like one of those big 32-inch ones. So, and the thing is, like when you pack up and you have to be lugging that through the streets and through the hospital, you don't look great at all.
No,
It
no,
really
I was going
doesn't.
to say, thank God it wasn't one of those old box 80s
I
TVs
know.
as well.
I don't know how I would have got that in. Luckily, it was a flat screen. So that's what inspired me to do something to try and raise money for TVs for the Talbot Butler Ward. So I needed to get 14 TVs so that people didn't have to pay to watch anymore. So I thought, what could I do? And then my brother had done Tough Mother the year before, and he was like, "Oh, why don't you do that? It's really simple." I didn't know what it was, but because if I did, I knew it would have been simple. So I persuaded one of my friends to do it with me. And that was a shock because when I told people I'm fundraising and I'm doing Tough Mother, they were like, "Lorraine, you're not going to make it." And I was like, "What do you mean? Have a look." And I was like, "Actually, I'm not going to make it." It just looked insane.
And you're like, it's one of those events where 3 weeks later you're still getting mud at if it is.
Yeah, and cuts and scratches all over the place. And I did that, and actually I found it was challenging, but I actually really enjoyed it. I think what I loved about it was that spirit of everybody helping support each other around the course. Something that really shocked me actually, that strangers would be there encouraging you and, cheering you along as you're, running and doing obstacle challenges. And for me, a lot of them were really challenging because it wasn't something I'd done before. But then once I'd done that and achieved the amount I needed to get the funds for the TV, I thought, actually, I don't mind this. I'm going to keep going and seeing what else is out there. And then that's what inspired me to, get into running. It was as a result of fundraising and, trying to get ready for these TVs.
So what sort of distances, races have you been doing with the running?
Yeah. So obviously the Tough Mudder was the first one, and then from there I started to just start running, and it was increasing my distances. So I found that was actually long distance running I was better at, which really surprised me. I'm not too sure why, but it just felt really good. I used to build it up into a rhythm. So then afterwards, the next year I did an obstacle run with my friend, and it was 20 miles and 200 obstacles.
Wow.
That really surprised us because when my friend said, "Shall we do it?" and she was like, 200 obstacles, it'd be just like little ones, so it'd be fine. And it absolutely wasn't. It was like ridiculous. It was worse than Tough Mother. But
Really? What was that
it
event?
was. It
What
was
was that
called
event?
Rat Race 30 Weekend. So it was just loads. There was a mile of monkey bars. There was like you were climbing up these scaffolding. It was just absolutely insane. And I did some more fundraising with that because I thought if I can use this to raise money, then I'll do it at the same time. So I was able to raise money to support the cancer ward again in the hospital. I've done I did another rat race run in the Lake District, which was called Man versus Lake, and that was 26 miles. That was I did that one on my own. In hindsight, I probably would have done it on my own again. It was really challenging to keep motivated and going for that distance. But again, as I was going along the way, people could see I was on my own, and I joined up with other people and was able to complete it. So yeah, I've done some crazy challenges over the
You're not
years myself.
selling
But
it to me. You're not selling it. So if you've done 26 miles like that, have you ever thought about
yeah,
doing another 0.2 miles and making it a marathon?
yes, I have. I've tried to get into the London Marathon ballot every year, but I've never been successful. That's like my ultimate goal on my wish list to do, because I would love to do that. So I would give it a go if I got in. So I've put in for the ballot this time. So fingers crossed.
You're
Yeah,
not
we'll do
thought
it.
about doing maybe Milton Keynes, which is more local to home and likely to
I
get.
didn't realise they had. I didn't realise they had a marathon.
Yeah, Milton Keynes,
Yeah.
usually the first weekend of Bank Holiday May, have a marathon.
Hmm.
And it's getting, it wouldn't surprise me as the years go on, it will
Yeah.
be just as big as London. Not
Oh
as,
wow.
but it's
Yeah.
support and that is massive and
Oh,
thinking,
I'll definitely, yeah, check that out for next year, because we do go to Milton Keynes Hospital as well, so it's got that local connection too. So, yeah, I'll have a look.
so you started the running and that got you, you started off raising money for TVs and then you was doing more
Yeah,
events, raising money for the ward. But
yeah,
how did it get to the Lewis Foundation it is today and the awards that you keep being nominated for at the moment? How did it get to the as big as it is today in 2020, 10 years later?
yeah. So basically, it was after we got, a raise for the fundraise for the TVs. It was like, what else can we do? Because it just felt like that felt great, but it just felt like there was something else missing. When we were on the ward, we noticed there was a lot of people without visitors, which was really hard to see actually. A lot of loneliness, a lot of time spent on your own, because visiting was only equates to 4 hours a day. So there was a lot of alone time for people, and it was really tough. So when myself and my husband Lee used to go to the hospital, we used to go to the shop and we just buy things for people. It could be magazines, books, puzzle books, sweets. See my mother-in-law first, and they will go around and hand things out to people and spend time with them. And we just saw it made a real difference to how they felt, and it cheered them up, and it made them smile and just took their mind off what they were going through. And that was when
Wow.
the idea came about. It was yeah, it would have been at the end of 2015, 2016 we were doing that. And then we just thought one day, I don't know why I pick a charity, but it was like, let's just set up a charity. And Lee was like, yeah, let's do it. We didn't know what we were doing at all. We just thought it seemed
Wow.
like a really good idea. And we applied to the charity commission and they said, yeah, it sounds like a great idea, and gave us the charity status. And then we were like, we hadn't thought about it. Like, we need money for the gifts. Kind of did it the wrong way around, but we were just going with it. And then we just had to
Brilliant.
persuade family and friends to help support us with fundraising, and we wrote to every company possible to give us product donations. And then in May 2016 we were able to make our first donation to the hospital of 80 gifts for Talbot Butler Ward. So 8 different types of gifts. So there was things like overnight packs, so if people were rushed in they had underwear and toiletries, radio, magazines, puzzle books. Yeah, and that was amazing feeling to be able to give that first 80 gifts as a donation. And then we just didn't know where it was going to go. We didn't think it was going to go actually beyond Talbot Butler Ward, to be honest. It was just like we just wanted to do something to help
Because I
make a difference.
noticed on your social media
Yeah,
this week alone, you have been to Milton Keynes Hospital as well. So
yeah.
you are
So
going further afield.
yeah, so initially started just on Talbot Butler Ward in Northampton General, and then the more gifts we found we gave, then other hospitals were reaching out and asking if we could support, because they were hearing the difference it made.
Wow.
So now we go to 9 hospitals around the Midlands. So we cover Northamptonshire, Milton Keynes, as you said, Nottinghamshire, Bedford, Leicestershire, and then Luton as well. So grown massively in a 4-year period, and we give just over 2,500 gifts for free a month to hospitals we support. So it's
Wow.
grown loads in a 4-year period.
And like today, yesterday you was at Asda at Rushton, and they gave you
Yeah.
loads of gifts. Is it a case of you just contacting them and saying, "Look, I'm the Lewis Foundation. Can you help?" And they're willing, or do you have to give the whole story and
Yeah,
beg?
it's. I mean, we're, in the early days, there was a lot of begging. But as people have got to see us and know us, we get like with Asda, the Rushton donation, they contacted us and was like, "Oh, do you need any donations at the moment?" So we're finding now we're getting businesses like supermarkets and individuals that are coming in contact with us and saying, "Oh, we've seen you've been giving out gifts. Do you need any support?" Whereas when we were in the early days, it was tough because people were like, why are these two random people giving out gifts for free and they don't want nothing? That was really the hardest part. People didn't get it.
Yeah.
Whereas now, 4 years later, they understand that we're giving it just because we want to do something to make people feel better. So we find now that people do reach out to help support us as well.
And what about the people that you give these gifts to? Do they look at you and think, hang on, is Christmas come early? Or are they aware of you and know that,
Yeah.
this happens?
Yeah, now they do. Like in the early days, it was very hard because we were going onto a ward, or we were going into rooms. You didn't know what state somebody was going to be in. They could be fine that day. They could be really upset. They could be angry, and you're having to judge like the situation and what's the best way to approach it. But now people have got to know us and they're understanding why we're there. You know, sometimes we've got people there waiting for us to come.
Oh,
They
that's
know, which is lovely. Pre-COVID, when we were going in, people knew we were coming on certain days, so they'll be waiting. They know what kind of gift they're going to pick this week. So you build up like a relationship as well. So you get to know them beyond just this is the person diagnosed with cancer. You're getting to know their likes, their dislikes, their family, their friends, and it's just an amazing feeling to be able to do that.
And can I ask, is your mother-in-law still with us, or?
Yeah, she is. She's doing really well. She's in remission now. She helps with the charity as well. She gets involved with helping us package and when it was safe, going into the hospitals as well and handing out gifts, which was really good for people because it gave them hope and reassurance as well. And she could answer any questions that they had about what it was like for her when she was going through treatment. So yeah, she's doing great. Despite how tough it was, she's doing really well now.
And how does she feel about the fact that, okay, she got this terrible disease, but the goodness that's come out of it from her getting cancer, to the amount of smiles and joy you've given to so many since then?
Yeah, I mean, for her, it's like amazing to see. And I think for everybody, it was a real surprise that the charity has grown in the way it has. Um,
It's
I don't think,
exploded.
yeah, none of us would have imagined that at all, including her. I mean, during that time, it was really difficult because while she was going through her cancer treatment, my father-in-law had a heart attack and passed away out of the blue. So it was a really tough time. Um, so for her, like, I think it makes her really happy that she can see, despite all that horrible period that we had, that we're now able to help so many people on a daily basis. So yeah, I know it makes her really happy.
And that's something I was going to lead, because you've got so big, something, that started off, what, it would have been 1 day a week that you'd go around the ward.
Yeah,
You seem to
yeah.
be, like you said, you're
Everywhere.
every day, more or less, giving out gifts. You're missing
Yeah,
calls every day at the
that's
moment.
what I feel like. I feel like so 365 days a year. I mean, yeah, when we first started, we were just going in like one evening a week, and then it's grown. But now we have about 50 volunteers that help us. And before lockdown, we had volunteers, including us, that would go into the hospitals and hand out the gifts as well, which was lovely. The difficult period with lockdown is that we're still continuing, but just to protect our safety, the hospitals have said, like, we'll hand out the gifts on your behalf. So that's how we're able to still keep going. We have volunteers that pack gifts at home, and then we drop it at the hospital, and then the hospital help hand out the gifts so that the gifts are continually going out on a daily basis to support people as they're going through treatment.
Is there a process though with the hand gels and everything, the wiping
Oh
down of it,
God.
especially being as it's going to cancer patients?
Yeah, it's been like a massive change for us. I mean, we've gone from packing in Elgar Centre in Upton, in the local community centre where we're all coming together, to people packing at home, providing they're well and they're not in any isolation themselves. So we've got a really strict process at the moment. So we receive any product donations or any purchases we've made, they're isolated for 3 days in our storeroom. Then they
Okay.
go to the volunteers' house. Before the volunteers open a tub, it's isolated for a further 3 days. They pack
Wow.
it, we collect it, and then it's isolated for another 3 days before it goes to the hospital. They isolate it again. So it's a really long process from the actual getting the items now to actually then being handed over to a patient, just to make sure there's no issues, because there's the concerns about the
Can't
virus
risk
being
it.
on. Yeah, so it's a very long process, but it's a process that we have to follow, but just to protect people. So yeah, it's a massive change from us. Before, we used to pack, say, Monday, and they'll start be going out on Tuesday. So we have to keep planning far enough in advance. So we continually giving them out every week.
Are you, with the lockdown, are you finding you're not I know Rushed and Asda they contacted you, but are
Yeah.
other companies contacting you because they've realised, hang on a minute, there are other vulnerable people out there, charities, that we can help?
Yeah, I've
Or are
definitely
you
felt
are you on the
that.
phone ringing saying, "Oi, don't forget us"?
Luckily, it's kind of like we have a lot of people that will contact. I mean, especially when the first lockdown hit in March, and the amount of support we got then, especially when the shelves were stripped, because that was a really scary time, and we couldn't get the products we needed. But the businesses knew that we weren't taking products to sell and make profit.
Yeah,
They knew we generally needed it, so they were saving stuff for us, like hand sanitizers, hand creams, puzzle books, keeping them to the side, so that we were able to continue, because they knew that what we were doing was for a good reason. So we are very lucky that we've had businesses continue to reach out to support. Sometimes when we're short of something, that's when we would say we'll get in contact with the company and say, is there anything you can do to help? But as I said, we're really lucky that people have got to know, and trust us, and they know that there's people that are vulnerable in the community, and that's why we're on social media every day, just so people don't forget that there's these people there that need support. They can't be forgotten.
and I was going to say, obviously, social media is everyone's weapon
So
at the moment to keep
yeah,
ourselves out there. Um, are you missing the running and the fundraising physically? How are you coping yourself mentally, or is the fact that you've got this new COVID process challenging enough and keeping your mind occupied to
I
make
would
sure
say
that you're still working?
the first lockdown, I really struggled, if I'm going to be honest. I think because it was just such a shock and a change, and I'm very much a people person, so to not be able to mix with people, I found very hard to process. Not to be able to touch people, not to be able to go out and comfort people in the way I would like, and not to be able to see my family, because we're very close and I would like see them all the time. So I did find it really hard at the start, but what kept me going was when patients were contacting for support, we were able to go out, deliver things to their home. The charity kept me going because it gave me a focus and a purpose. Because I just felt, otherwise I felt completely lost. I was like, I don't know what this situation is. I don't know how to deal
Yeah.
with it. I felt so confused, going from being free to do whatever you want to just being stuck
Did
indoors all the
you did
time.
you go out running or walking yourself? When we had that 1 hour a day or whatever, you can go out and exercise. Did you
Yeah,
do that for yourself to help clear your head?
yeah, I did. So every day I would go out for a run, stick on a podcast and just run and just get, and I found that really helped me. It was like one time a day I really looked forward to just getting out and just, like you said, clearing your mind. And it really helped, that exercise. I don't know if we didn't have that, that would have been horrendous. It just helped me just clear my head and get some focus and clarity. And I felt like, right, once I've done that, I can be okay. I can continue. It was
And it,
valuable.
and it sounds like, with the charity the way it is, yes, there's a lot of gift giving, but you must see sadness as well, and it
Mm,
must really tug at the heartstrings, especially people you do see regularly, give them gifts, and then unfortunately they're no longer here. How do
mm.
you deal with that grief?
For
Because
me, Yeah, I can completely get where you're coming from with that, because we've got to know so many people so well. And then even out of the hospital, you know, you'll go into their homes to support them and their families. So you get to know them. And it is so hard when that happens. I think what I've learned to do is take comfort from the fact that whilst they were here, that I was able to do what I could to make them feel better and smile and keep them going at that time. And that's what keeps me going when I struggle with it, because naturally you do,
You
it's
will,
it's
yeah.
natural. You build a connection, but I think what I take from it to keep me going is the fact that we did what we can to try and make them happy in those moments that they had. So that is what provides me some comfort, so I can deal with it.
No, it's just
Yeah.
remarkable. It just really is. But and obviously you're now getting recognised, because I don't know what's going on the last couple of weeks, but your social media every day been nominated for this, won this, won that. So please share with everyone what's been going on with you for the last couple of weeks with awards and
It's
nominations.
just been, I know, it's even like, so it just blows us away, because I mean, with the Hello magazine one, somebody had nominated us for that. Wouldn't have expected to be in Hello magazine at all. For
I know
such a
your face
celebrity.
this week is all over Hello
I know, and I'm
magazine.
like, who are like two random people from Northampton? So it feels a bit
Did you
weird.
check the picture going, was that my best side?
I was like, please let it be a good picture, but no, it was it was fine. And I think it's because, like you said about social media, it's really powerful. So people can see that throughout the whole of lockdown that we were still going. I think that's really important for people. And I know it's not easy for everyone to keep going, but I think by showing every day that there's people out there in need, and it's because it's not just myself, Elite, it's everybody as a community making this happen, and everyone's getting involved to make a difference to the lives of others. And I think because of that, that's why we're getting the recognition that we are now, because we haven't stopped and everybody's pitching in to try and make a difference to others. First, the awards are an amazing recognition, because then they give us actually the opportunity to get our
Right
message out there
platform.
further, and then we get more support as well in return. So yeah, it's incredible to receive them and be recognised in that way. It's just an amazing feeling, because that's what we set out to do. We're just there for us. Our intention is just to try and make people happy in a really difficult situation. So
And
yeah,
it's
we never
unfortunately,
set out
it's
to do that.
like those that don't know you won't know unless they're in that situation. They're in Talbot ward or, Milton Keynes ward or whatever, and
Yeah,
having the treatment, and then suddenly, you and Lee come round in your Santa
yeah,
sacks
we do.
to dish
So
out
at Christmas
gifts.
time we dress up. At
I
Christmas
know,
time
I
we
have
dress up
seen
as
the
well.
evidence. I saw that last year, which is brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
So, what's next? Have you been using lockdown to get new ideas for when this is all over to help try and hire your profile? Or is it a case at the moment? Just do what we can do, because there was a lot of publicity recently, weren't there, about cancer treatment,
Mhm.
those with cancer, the treatments being delayed because of COVID. Do you think that's what's hired your profile as well in Northampton?
Yeah, I think that has been really tough for people actually, because I know during this whole period we've had people reach out to say they're scared to go to the hospital because of the virus. They don't want to get the virus, and is it going to kill them? We've had people reach out to say they don't know what to do or where to turn, and we've been trying to help in whatever way we can to, to make them feel better. So I think, yeah, things like that, people's worries and concern has helped in a way to kind of raise the profile of the charity, because we're basically doing what we can to support people during this really tough time, because no one's got really any answers of when it's going to get better, what we're going to do to improve things for people. In terms of long term, we are trying to we think of ways that we can help support people from a distance at the moment, because we know people really need it. Before lockdown, we used to do pamper days for cancer patients and their families and their friends. So they would come along and they would get, tips and advice on how to look after themselves, address their skin concerns, hair concerns, mental health. And we haven't been able to do those in-person events. So we're looking to see if we can switch to do something online. that can be as effective, just to get people the support they need. So for us, our focus at the moment is to see what ways we can have alternative ways to support people who are going through treatment, because I don't see any face-to-face happening, like you said, before the end of this year, or maybe even the beginning of the next. So we've got to do something. We can't just leave people there, not for another
No.
3 months, 6 months.
And unfortunately, not everyone's got a computer, so there are going to be a few that fall through the cracks that you cannot get to,
Yeah,
unfortunately. But those you can, I suppose, maybe mindfulness and well-being exercises via
yeah,
Zoom, and it is going to be
yeah.
mental health, a lot of it.
100%. It is really I mean, it's bad enough for anybody, but if you're in that situation and you've got no support, you're going into hospital without even a family member sitting next to you, it's horrendous. I know, like, times when my mother-in-law would be, could you come and sit with me whilst the doctor's speaking, just because they're not always processing it themselves. So to even lose something as simple as that, it's really hard for people. So mental health, I think, will be a big issue for sure.
Oh, so when was the last time you went running, Lorraine? Let's get back to the running side of it.
Yeah,
I want to
so
know, when did you last go running?
it would have been last week. I went for a run. The weather
Please say
was quite.
Friday, because then it's only a few days.
I think it was last Thursday. It was my day off, and I went for a run, and it was really great because I want to get back into it, especially during the winter period. Because at the moment, I just don't feel like I'm moving at all. You just feel like you're stuck indoors. So definitely looking forward to getting back into running properly, especially during the winter months, forcing myself outside, because it's so easy for me not to to just like lock the doors till next year. But no, I'm conscious of that. I think it's really important to keep going.
And are you a cold or a warm runner?
Warm,
So
because
you're summer.
I hate the cold. So that's what I mean. I have to force myself this time of year to like get out and keep going. Once you're out there, when it's cold though, it's fine because you warm up. But I think it's that initial thought. You open the curtains, it's like, oh no, it's icy, or it looks really cold today. But yeah, it's got to be done.
Oh no, it's the best time of year. I disagree with you. It's woolly
I
hat
do.
season. It's great seeing all the runners with the woolly hats, bright socks on, bright tops. It's brilliant, leggings. You name it, it's the
I've got
best
my
time of
better,
year.
got my better for myself.
And finally, what is your must-have treat after a run, especially if you've done a long run?
Oh yeah, so it's usually a burger and like a glass of prosecco.
A burger and a glass. You're so classy. Really?
I'm like,
Please
Lee, I
don't
need a
say a
burger.
McDonald's. Don't say a McDonald's.
No, I don't like McDonald's, so it's fine. I usually go and I'll have a nice burger ready. Like, I'll go to the shop, a burger, yeah, the prosecco. That's my
Oh,
post-run treat.
on that note,
What?
with a burger and a prosecco as a treat. Thank you, Lorraine, for appearing on this week's Running Tales podcast. And if
Thank
anyone
you.
wants to know more about the Lewis Foundation charity, where can they go?
Yeah, if you head to our website, it's www.thelewisfoundation.co.uk.
And you're all over social media. You're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Yeah, so if you just search the Lewis Foundation, you can find us. Yeah, you'll see us up to all sorts every day.
And currently you have got a Just Giving page where you're collecting money to donate hampers, and you're after funds for that. So if anyone would like to donate money towards a hamper, where do they need to go?
Yeah, if you head to our website again, you can go to, well, I'll give you the specific link for the donate page. So it's www.thelewisfoundation.co.uk/donate. So we're doing surprise hampers for adult cancer patients in the community, which will be delivered as a surprise on the lead up to Christmas.
So please, listeners, get donating, get over there, get over to the Lewis Foundation website, and start supporting Lorraine and Lee on this amazing charity and the work that they do. So thank you from us, and I'm sure thank
No,
you from
thank
all the
you.
cancer patients that you do. So everyone, thank you for listening to Running Tales today, and please share with everyone. And if you're on Apple, please rate us and give us a review, and we will see you next week for the next episode of Running Tales. Thank you and be safe.